So, Groundhog's Day, take 48.
If this happens again, I have to quit the show or I need somebody new. This is the 9th lost tapes where we didn't press record. The audio got dropped off. Anything that can go wrong has gone wrong with this show.
It's kind of like the Pamela Lee tapes. Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee.
I've never seen that tape.
There's a
Not as a youth.
There's a documentary out right now that just came out. We watched it the other day. The Lost Tapes.
And what was on those lost tapes?
Lost information.
Lots of boning.
Lots of stuff.
Well, I think I know what the curse is. First of all, it's whenever I wear a fire outfit, you just decide, like, I can't be outdone, and I'm going to go ahead and sabotage the podcast.
Well, yeah. But now, are you a star boy? What's going on here? Planetary alignment?
I love the weekend, and there's just a big wide world out there.
All right. Are those cords?
Are these quartz? What?
Corduroys. Are those corduroy pants?
Yeah, corduroy's the new thing. It's back in.
They're back.
They're back.
Oh, man. Well, I've got some from the 90s.
I got jackets. I got pants.
Whew. Man, what was once fresh and old is now new again.
So yesterday, guys, just so you know, I roasted your outfit for, 20 minutes.
What was I wearing? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were wearing all kinds of crazy stuff. This outfit, much better, but I gave you a chance with the shoes. And what do you come with today?
I come with even better shoes. Like, these things, like, don't hate on the shoes, man. Don't hate on the shoes.
All right, I respect it. Your style has gone so weird over the years. You used to wear the New Balances, which I thought was a cool phase. Then you did the tracksuits.
Yeah.
Now you're Jordans.
I have everything.
But weirdly, your tops and your jeans have always stayed the same.
I'm always ahead of the times.
I don't know what times.
Hey, people copy.
The New York Times. All right.
So, like, what do we even go over? It's like, do we go over all of the amazing, funny content that nobody wants to hear?
Yeah.
Maybe they did this to us.
Enough with the chit-chat before the pod.
Yeah, people don't want the chit-chat. Some people love the chit-chat. Some people don't love the chit-chat. But now that we lost an entire episode, I feel like the chit-chat will be at a minimum because we just got to get this done at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're so busy. To find an hour and a half, 2 hours to come in and do this.
Wait, hold on. Stop. Do you have writing on your shoes? Yeah. What are you, a child?
No, these are like the Jay-Z Pumas. These are nice.
You went to gym class and somebody was like, hey, let me write. You guys write on each other's shoes.
That's actually the story of these. These are from London. This is a classroom in London, and so you got the post stamps and the writing. This is like live from this is high fashion.
I'm gonna have my 8-year-old Lennox write on your clothes from now on, and you just tell people they're high fashion.
Look at Picasso.
All right. Yeah.
How many 8-year-olds could have done what he did? Lots.
All of them. All right. Where do we even begin? We talk about last week. We'll do a quick recap.
We don't need to. I mean, we don't need to. Like,
we don't need to. It doesn't have. But it was a good week.
You said what was the best bet? What was the worst bet?
Yeah,
I thought the Kazama Rinya fight under 2.5 was like the easiest one you could go. I messed up on Kinoshita. Sucks for me. Whatever.
Yep. That was my best call of the night. Was that he was a parlay buster. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't yelling from the fugget.
Well, I should have seen it in the writing. Like, Man of the Library warns us every week that Fugget Friday from Dana White is the signals for who's going to win. It's literally in the name, Fugget Friday. I should have known that.
You should have known.
So next time.
Yeah. Who out of all the people you saw on the last Korea card, which was actually in Vegas, who do you think has the highest upside in the promotion?
I mean, it's not even a question. I mean, it's Rinya.
It's got to be Rinya, right?
Obviously, he's so good.
You know, I actually think might do. I don't know if better than everybody else, but definitely better than I thought was Jubilee. He actually looked.
Yeah, he looked clean.
Yeah, and now that said, Sarah Gay looked bad, so it's hard to kind of gauge.
But he's an Indian guy that's got that UK style, that push and pull, that really long body. He's like a Jai Herbert.
Yeah.
Hopefully with a better chin.
With a better chin. You know, the glass is stronger than Jai Herbert's jaw. But no, I think he's actually going to do better than I think we originally thought. Not like we thought he was bad, but just I think he'll do better. I think Rinya is solid. And then everybody hates on the turtle. Mm-hmm. I don't hate on the turtle. Even in the comments, you bet my words, Tallulah is going to win. There's like 20 Tallulah people in the comments. I'm like, you guys, the turtle's good. People hate on the turtle.
I made a case for Tallulah, and the reason was not that I think he's a world beater, amazing. I said this on the last pod. His tape pre-UFC was
bad.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But he came a long way. He's got a good sprawl, and he's got good punches. And honestly, even in the fight, he had a good sprawl and he had really good punches. But Turtle did exactly what you said last time, where he swung around to the back, he picked the leg out, and eventually got him down. It wasn't easy.
Yeah,
but he got him down.
Unorthodox. It's unorthodox. It's not wrestling. It's jiu-jitsu cage wrestling.
You literally said he will go around him, and that's exactly what he did. He went around him. He pulled out the leg, got on top of him, and then Tululin off his back is worthless.
Yeah, it's no bueno. And then we talked about Corrales a little bit. Corrales looked great against a solid neckbeard.
Corrales is amazing. We told a million Corrales stories yesterday, and
I know you guys are gonna miss them all. The Corrales tapes, the Corrales stories. Those are gone. They're lost.
But, shout out Henry Corrales. I know he's a big fan of the show. I know he's an avid listener. So, shout out Henry Corrales.
And then we talked a couple weeks ago about who the potential tough coaches might be.
And we got him.
We were talking about Connor and Tony Ferguson, but it ends up being Connor and Chandler. So, I actually like that. I like that a lot better. We have a guy on the show. We actually had two guys who were supposed to be on the show. And then one of them was like, hey, you're on the show. They told him he was on. They told him that day. And then he was supposed to fly out. And they're like, oh, yeah, sorry. We decided to go another direction.
Are you allowed to say names yet?
I'm not going to say names because I know before you were not allowed to say names. And now I don't know what the protocol is. But I'm not going to say names, but we do have somebody on there.
Just so I know, is it a white guy?
I mean, who even sees color anymore?
About the whitest guy I've ever seen.
Oh, bag of milk white.
Okay. All right.
So.
Well, you guys will be in for a treat.
So there's that. Oh, so I told this bag of milk white guy that tried to get on Connor's team. I said that no matter what. I said, if you're going to go train with any of these guys out of the show, you'd go to
he's going to be on Connor's team because Michael Chandler only takes the blacks.
He does. He knows that. We know that from the Baghdasarians. But
no, because all his kids are black.
Oh, are they?
He's adopted all black kids.
I didn't know that. Okay.
You missed that.
What
Sorry,
a saint.
guys.
Yeah.
For those of you guys,
this guy's over here making jokes. I'm like, what a saint. What a Saint Chandler is. Saint Chandler. I think he's memorialized somewhere. And I said, hey, make sure that you're on Connor's team because, I mean, what can they really show you on the show? You don't really have a lot of time. I think Chandler and them will actually try to teach too much technique because I think they're actually good. He'll probably have Gilbert Burns, he'll have Greg Jones, he'll have Henry Hoof, he'll do a lot of stuff. I don't think they should because it's such a short time. Whereas Connor will probably have Kavanaugh, who I kind of think of as like a Faraz Zahabi or a Greg Jackson, who'll kind of go over some strategy and game plan. And I think that's better for the show because you just don't have a lot of time to.
You're not going to learn a whole system in a few weeks.
You can't. And more than anything, you're there for TV, and you want to be on screen with Conor McGregor. You want Conor McGregor tweeting your name. You want afterwards to go out to dinner with Conor McGregor and kind of chip off some of his fame and that's what you want.
If this is who I think it is, it's about the quietest human being of all time.
It's not who you think it is.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's not who you think it is. But anyway, yeah, Connor, be on Connor's team. And then just imagine drinking whiskey with Connor in the house. Like, that'd be fun.
Proper 12.
All right, well, let's get into this week's fights because, I think
we got to cruise through these ones.
We got to cruise through these. I don't have the energy to do anything more.
All right. First up, we have Zubaira Tukhugov versus Elves Brenner.
Zuba is just phenomenal. He's in and out movement. He draws people in. He's got a narrow stance. And for as much as I don't care for karate, not like I think there's anything wrong with it, but I would never train karate or anything the sort. And I really like traditional Muay Thai and Dutch style Muay Thai. The footwork of that in and out stance, not necessarily karate, but just even a Volkanovski we'll talk about later, a guy that moves laterally, moves in and out, is just so much better for our sport than people that just stand there and plod forward. So I love Zuba's everything. He had a war with Ramos, who's so good everywhere.
It was a fun fight.
I mean, yeah, he's just really good. And his opponent, who's this guy? Like, he is, like, where do they drag this guy out of? Like, he's...
The favelas.
Yeah, the favelas of Brazil. He's a traditional... he's a Chutebox guy, right? Chutebox de Lima, is that it?
Yeah.
From Do Bronx's camp. Kind of plods forward. He's there. He's fine. I mean, he's not bad, but he'll play off his back. He'll jump to guillotines. He makes bad decisions. I don't know how. I mean, he's not going to take Zuba down. He's not going to, or like, how does he win this fight? I think this is easily a Tukhugov. I don't know if that's how you say it. I think it's easily a Tukhugov fight, like beyond. And now it just goes to sometimes Zuba will just like play with his food a little bit too long. So then it's, do you go inside the distance? Do you go under 1.5, under 2.5? Or is it a 2-minute? I think money line is easy on this.
Well, yeah, it's minus 600. Yeah.
Oh, is it that much?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize it was that much. And so you got to decide if you really want to play it. You got to make a case for inside the distance or something.
Well, the easiest play on this one, it's going to be just like last week with Kazama and Rinya. It's the under 2.5. There's no way this fight's go. Literally, Zuba's going to decisions and split decisions with top guys in the UFC.
Yeah.
Hakeem Dawodu, Ricardo Ramos. Say what you want about him, he's
phenomenal.
He's talented. Let's see what else we got. Lerone Murphy, draw split with him. Hanato Moicano, like he's going with really good guys.
Yeah.
He's getting tired. That's his one knock is his cardio. But it's against really good guys. Elves Brenner is not that guy.
No.
So under 2.5, Zuba inside the distance. I love it. That's
I'm in.
Easy. All right. Next up, we have Blake Bilder and Shane Young.
So I'm actually glad we're redoing this because I got Bilder confused with somebody else because all these guys are just a bunch of random white names of people who I don't know. Like they're all like John Smith. It's like 17 John Smiths, and I get all the John Smiths mixed up. So I'm glad we actually did this because I thought Blake Bilder was somebody else.
Okay.
And I don't hate Blake Bilder. I like his striking. He moves laterally well. He has good like knifing punches. He fights with a little bit of hate in his heart, which I love to see. And he has a good sense of urgency. We saw it in the Contender Series where he got a guy, kind of rocked him, wobbled him, and then kind of half shot in, half clinch, but slid to the back, jumped on him, and got that finish. And you said this yesterday because I was like, I could not find a lot of tape on him. A lot of his stuff has been pulled down. So everything that I was looking on
it's like the last 3 or 4 fights.
On the tape index, I couldn't find a lot on him. And so that's why I was like, man, I didn't remember him. But then he is fighting Shane Ross, right? Or Shannon Ross?
No, he's fighting Shane Young.
Shane Young. All these names like just blend in because it's just a bunch of like random white names from Australia. Anyway, so he's fighting Young. I think it's 2 and 3 in the UFC, and he's actually decent everywhere. He's not bad. He's tough. His wrestling's decent. I mean, he fought Volk to a decision. He lost, but I mean, he's a tough guy. He fought Omar Morales to a decision. I mean, his wrestling is decent. His striking is decent, and him and Bilder actually move kind of the same way. It's almost like they train at the same gym, the way that they strike. They kind of inch laterally, inch left, inch right, kind of the same style, the same stance, the same movement. My issue with Young is that he just doesn't fight to win. There's no sense of urgency. He's kind of okay. We'll get to Modestas Bukauskas later, who kind of does the same thing. He just doesn't have the same sense of urgency to win. And he does a lot of stuff really well, but he just doesn't try to win. And that's my issue with Young. I was only able to watch a little bit of tape on Bilder. I don't like his takedown defense, and I don't like how he plays on his back.
Yep.
From what I've seen, I think I like Young here. And then the other thing with Young, that dude has 5 fights in the UFC and has been in the UFC for like 7 years. Like
he fights very sporadically.
Do you know what that is about?
Honestly, I'm not sure. And if you guys know in the comments, please put it there for us.
Yeah, I'm curious about this.
But
I think the experience and the toughness and the technique of I want to go Young here, but there's a little bit unknown about Bilder and then the layoffs on Young.
Watching the two to the eye test, to me, Bilder is a lot more fluid. He just is a lot more agile and he moves a lot better, which I think definitely counts for something. And then watching Shane Young, a couple of things about him. You're right. He does everything well. Like gets taken down, he stands back up. He can wrestle. He's got good general awareness. The problem that I have in some of his earlier fights was him putting his face out there, and he's so robotic and so stiff when he strikes, but his face is always right here. Now, he's gotten much better at it, especially in the Omar Morales fight, which was good film, good tape.
Yep.
Omar Morales is huge.
Massive.
I don't understand. Like, it doesn't comprehend to me.
His head is huge.
It looked like this was a 170 fight, and that, Shane Young maybe took it up like a few weight classes. It was crazy because he's only 2 inches taller than me. So I think I like Shane Young here for a few reasons. One, I think he's solid. I don't believe Blake Bilder yet. He looks good on tape to me, but you're right. The takedown defense, the playing off his back, he's so jiu-jitsu oriented.
That is one of the biggest things in our sport. If you cannot defend a takedown and if you play off your back, that is one of the lowest fight IQ things that there is.
You know what's funny is like, we have so many people that, have been on the Discord for a while now, and a lot of new people too. The one thing, it's so funny, the second someone watches film, because it's not just us watching film, everybody watches film, and we try to kind of get together and brainstorm. But the second someone sees someone pulling guillotine, everyone on the Discord lights him up. They're like, oh my God, this guy. And it was surprising to me before how many people were willing to wager their money on these fights and didn't know that like pulling a guillotine was like a bad thing.
When does it work?
It just doesn't work often, so, and the same thing a lot of times with the jiu-jitsu off your back. So I always say this too with Brazilians specifically. I love, or just jiu-jitsu people, I love a purple belt way more than I love a black belt in MMA, because the black belts are so confident in their jiu-jitsu. They're so willing to play off their back and do dumb things, where purple belts, they're just full of piss and vinegar. They'll hit their back and they want to wrestle to the top.
And they're almost too dumb to know that they shouldn't be doing it. And so they go and they get it. Whereas black belts are a little too cautious, and then they wait and they I don't know.
Just give up time rounds.
Yep.
So I always like a purple belt over a black belt. I think I like Shane Young. I think there's something that somebody knows. He's with City Kickboxing, doing his strength conditioning with Izzy. He's always posting pictures with Izzy. He was solid enough before. I think he's got decent enough striking, and for some reason, I don't believe Blake Bilder yet. He got chinned like 3 times in his CFFC fight. The guy's not a bad striker, Regivaldo Carvalho or whatever. But he was getting chinned so many times, and I just don't believe him yet. I think there's a lot of unknowns about him. Shane Young's fighting really, really good guys at a really, really good gym in his home country. I think the matchmakers know something that we don't. And it's a very close fight. Obviously, it's lined very close, too. I thought I put a couple plays in on Shane Young early, and I didn't. But I think I'm still going to go for it here. I like Shane Young.
I like it.
All right. Next up, we have Loma Lookboonmee versus Elise Reed.
Tell us about these two. I think I stole the last 2 in a row. I'm a thief.
Yeah, I already have a big play on Loma. I love Loma in this matchup. I just think she has every base covered. First of all, her Muay Thai is awesome. The one place that Elise Reed has always had like her base, her advantage is hand speed. She's got kind of a weird karate style, good range management, and then she leaps in, leaps out. It's almost like the point karate style, throws crazy hands, and she's back out. Well, it's funny enough because Loma does the same style, but she also adds clinch work and kicks. So I favor Loma in almost every aspect of this fight. The number one place that I favor her is actually in the clinch takedowns. Her clinch takedowns are phenomenal. And
Trips.
Elise Reed.
She knees, she elbows well, and then she trips.
And honestly, in her last fight, that girl she fought, listen, I would never fight a girl with a neck tattoo. I see a neck tattoo.
I wouldn't fight a guy with a neck tattoo.
Oh, I would. Then that's a lot of drugs and stuff. But a woman with a neck tattoo, that's a woman scorned.
Yeah.
That could be anything. And Loma got out of a lot of bad situations in that fight. So her jiu-jitsu is improving. Her takedowns are very, very good. Her general awareness, I think, is awesome. And I think she has her covered everywhere on the feet. So Elise Reed has been known to stay on her back and not have very good grappling. She's a little undersized, a little slow, chin up in the air, not the greatest cardio. So for me, I can't believe the line is actually this close. I got Loma covering her everywhere this fight goes.
What's the line on it?
I got it at 230, but I know Evan's going to make fun of me for that. He's going to say sniper. Because
I like Loma here.
Minus 275 now.
Okay. I mean, you covered it. We said this. My only issue is not does Loma win or lose. Loma's winning this. It's does it happen inside the distance? Because Elise Reed, you said it, she kind of runs a lot.
Yeah, I really don't think so. I think it's going to be Loma decision.
Yeah, see, that's what I think. Because I think it's going to be a Loma decision versus like a Loma TKO or, I doubt submission, but like, maybe she rocks her and is on her neck. I mean, I think Loma would just elbow her and beat her right there. But I think it's a decision. I think it's over 2.5. Is it over on 2.5 a set?
It has to be.
It has to be. It's a women's fight, yeah. So I like, Elise Reed, I think, has fought above her abilities. I think she's done well with what she's given in her skill set. She's won a couple fights. She's had some decent matchups.
She beat Super Melly, and she went to a split with...
she's had some good matchups for her. You know what I mean? She's done more than she probably should. But Loma's the truth.
I think Loma's so good.
Yeah.
And
Who do we have next?
All right. Next up, we have Mr. Jack Jenkins versus Don Shainis.
Oof. Go on this one because I have a lot to say here.
Okay, I'll keep it really simple. I really think I said this yesterday that Jack Jenkins is a blue chipper. I think he's one step below a blue chipper. He's
What was that? You said a Jew chipper? What's that? I don't.
Are we allowed to say that?
No, I don't think you can.
I've been listening to Kanye West all day.
That was see ya, buddy.
All right. Well, it's better than what you said on the last podcast about a certain group of people. Anyways, I like Jack Jenkins. I think he's a poor man's Jack Della Maddalena. His grappling is getting better.
Wait, what did you say?
Jack Della Maddalena.
Isn't that how I say it?
No, you said Della. You say
yeah,
Della.
that's what you just said. Della Maddalena.
I said Della Maddalena.
Now you did.
No, come on.
Hey, we're gonna throw
rerun
the red flag.
Rerun the tape. First of all, we didn't even talk about Cole. We got Cole here. He's our producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We notice I'm not manning the computer right now. Fortunately. Actually, I don't know. Cole was manning the computer yesterday when it went down.
And we got the lost tapes. Whose fault is this really?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got an audience.
Listen, I used to train with Cole. I could, I'll fight him now. I'll fight you now.
Why are you fighting me?
I don't know who lost the tape. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, we've got a producer. We've got multicam. We've got cameras.
We got an audience member.
Yeah. Man, we're big timing. Oh, we also have a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Go subscribe.
Which people should subscribe to since we reshot the video for you guys.
Yeah, it's called Combat Capital. Go give it a like and subscribe.
Like the YouTube video, share, like, subscribe. And even if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, you should take the 32 seconds it'll take to go to YouTube and subscribe and like it there too.
Okay. All right. Enough with your plug. That was embarrassing.
Hey, we need listeners. No?
I just like hearing the sound of my voice.
Yeah, I do know that.
All right. Jack Jenkins. I think he's poor man's JDM. He's got great boxing. I really like his boxing. I like his awareness. I like his head movement. He's showing his last fight. His grappling's getting there too. I think that was the one piece of his game that was missing just to be completely complete. Now, he's going against Don Shainis, and we talked about this yesterday, and I agree with this. Don is a lot of things. So, one, he actually really impressed me in a fight with Chris Lencioni, especially because Chris Lencioni just fought Cody Law and won the fight with Cody Law, who's a D1 wrestler and the Bellator prospect. And Shainis took him down and dominated him the entire fight, and Cody Law couldn't and didn't. So that fight was super impressive to me. But the rest of the fights, he's just wild overhands, charging at people, doing a football tackle.
Getting clipped in the process, always.
Yeah. So the one point that you made was that it's really hard for Jack Jenkins to look as beautiful as he has in his previous fights when there's no space.
Yeah.
When he's able to set things up.
He doesn't have the footwork to create the space and the angles when the ape Shainis just comes blitzing and barging in.
Exactly, yeah. And I think Shainis can probably do this for a round and a half at that pace if he's going to fight like an ape. So for Don Shainis to do the things that has worked for him up until this point will also be the same thing that makes him dog shit tired. So then I like Jack Jenkins after that. Round 2, round 3, Jack Jenkins. I think he's the truth. I just think he's got every base covered. He really is that good. Don Shainis, I don't think is UFC level, although he is tough. He's gonna just football tackle and come forward. I love me some Jack Jenkins in this spot.
Yeah, Shainis is an ape. We talked about this. He just goes in swinging football. It is no wrestling at all. It is literally a football spear. It's like an Oklahoma drill. It's just running in
Edge
each other.
in WWE.
Yeah. I mean, so but he does have good pressure. He looks strong as an ox. I mean, looks physically, but Jenkins his wrestling, his last fight looked better. His grappling looked better, and all he has to do is not screw up for Shainis to make a mistake. Because
what does Shainis do that's going to win him the fight? Without scoring now, if he's just going to run and football tackle and put him on the cage, that's not scoring points.
But even if he gets a takedown, Shainis does so much that he ends up on his back and falls all over the place and scrambles too much and is doing too much. And Jenkins is just going to find his way up and do it. Jenkins' boxing is great. He rips the body. He angles well. His actual classical boxing is good. And you said, he trains with JDM. He's a little mini version of him. Those guys have really good really good boxing in that kind of Western Australia camp right there. My issue with him is not even like it's an issue. What I want in this fight though is we saw him get blitzed on the Contender Series and he moved back and he got clipped a little bit in doing so. He doesn't angle and he doesn't stay in the pocket. We know Shainis is going to like come flying in. I would love to see Jenkins hold his ground and fire, and he would just put Shainis out in those exchanges.
You think this is a flying knee finish?
No, I think it's like a left hook finish.
I think this is a flying knee. Book it. Flying knee.
I'm going body shot. I'm going flurry body shot, right body shot, left hook.
Whatever. All right. Next up. So are we both on Mr. Jack Jenkins? Honestly,
yeah.
He's got so much swag. You seen that picture with him and the mustache?
In the mullet?
The mullet, the sunglasses.
How does he have a mullet? Because you see him with shorter hair and it looks like straight, like our hair. And then he grows it out and all of a sudden he's... Could
I get a perm?
Oh.
Would that work? Like just logistically?
I don't know, but I would pay for it if you wanted to get a perm.
I absolutely do.
If you wanted to grow your hair out, I will pay for a perm.
All right, give me 5 weeks, you guys. I'm going to grow my hair out till I'm disgusting, and I will perm my hair 100%.
Oh.
This has been a dream of mine.
I'm in.
I wanted to be like Slick Rick my whole life.
Oh, man, I will pay for that.
All right. Next up, we have Jamie Mullarkey versus Francisco Prado. Go ahead.
Are you going on? Okay, I'm going.
We usually do the snake.
Yeah.
Yesterday, guys, yesterday was a fun podcast. We were just bullshitting back and forth. Just everything was just a mush. It wasn't like formatted, like you go, I go. It was just whatever.
We're just going.
And then today we're
like, let's get through this because I'm hungry. I'm not even tired. I'm hungry.
You think they got Chick-fil-A around here?
Hey, if you guys saw, look, man, this looks great. Even you turn it around, it doesn't look bad. You walk outside.
Cole's a little rough today. But
sheesh, man. Outside, you will get shot, son. There's no Chick-fil-A.
That's why I brought my gat.
You want to know, if you ever see an O'Reilly's Auto Parts, you know you're not in the best of areas. And if you see a Chick-fil-A or a Whole Foods, you know you can leave anything out on the street and it's good.
Well, there's also a pawn shop across from an adult entertainment store. And weirdly...
Yeah. And a weed shop. Right there.
And it's 7 p.m. right now, and the adult entertainment store is packed.
Oh, yeah. Of course it is.
Every old dude with a Budweiser and a pickup truck. Yeah. It's disgusting.
But there's, like, homeless people galore everywhere. There's people walking down the street. Like, it is creepy.
Oh, it just feels at home.
Where are we at?
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Jamie Mullarkey, Francisco Prado. Go ahead on this.
Prado is a fraud.
Okay.
He's 11-0.
Francisco Prado.
I see what you did there.
All right. So I get paid the big bucks.
Not Prado. He is 11-0. He's beating up guys who are horrible. And, I mean, look, he comes out swinging guns blazing, just goes out there. And he kind of, I think they list him at 5'10", but he looks a little bit shorter. He looks thick and stocky to me. Like
now, we did have this problem just a few weeks ago.
What's that?
You said the exact same thing about that guy Bruno who fought RoboCop.
Oh, yeah.
And what I said, guys, I do want to make this clear. I bet RoboCop. And honestly, if RoboCop would have won, I would have made 6 figures in one night. It would have been very sweet. Instead, he got knocked the hell out. But I said there was nothing on film that told me he was a bad fighter. Like, he's literally beating guys how he's supposed to beat them in the fashion he's supposed to beat them. But watching Bruno on tape and watching Prado on tape, to me, is not the same thing.
No, not at all.
Prado's awful skill for skill.
Awful. And I said this yesterday. Look at his feet. His footwork, he is crossing his feet like one of the old drunks at the adult store or the homeless people trying to get in here right now. He just looks untrained. He looks like a tough brawler out of like a street fight, but he does not look, if you just watch his footwork and the way that he moves, that is not the way that technical boxing or striking should go and should match. He's just a dude who is just swinging hard and where is he from? Argentina?
Yeah.
He's swole up. Just a big, strong guy who's just going to swing. I mean, you're going against Jamie Mullarkey. Look, Jamie's chin is not the greatest ever, but he's fighting guys like Jalen Turner and Michael Johnson, like
Fares Zayam, and
if he's not getting knocked out by like Michael Johnson, and it was what, a split decision, in that last one. Like, man, I mean, Mullarkey's good. His wrestling is good. His fight IQ is good. He's at a good gym. I mean, can anybody get knocked out? Absolutely, but all signs, all check marks go to Mullarkey on this one for me, and I think it's a runaway, probably first or second round finish by Mullarkey.
I'm just having flashbacks to the RoboCop fight. Because Mullarkey, I love Mullarkey. He's one of my favorite guys because he's the most consistent. He's the ultimate generalist.
You know what you're getting.
You know what you're getting. He fights hard as shit. He's got good cardio, and he's pretty solid everywhere. He can outstrike some guys who are not the best strikers, and he can out-wrestle some guys who are not the best wrestlers, but he's not going to out-wrestle the best wrestler, and he's not going to outstrike the best striker. He's just so solid, a good generalist. Honestly, he's just a professional fighter, and he's fighting a 20-year-old berserker who's just putting in the cage, biting down on his mouthpiece.
What round was the RoboCop knockout? Was it 1 or 2?
That was the first round.
Was it first round? Okay.
So, our guy Big Bird got Prado first round knockout at plus 1,200 or plus 1,600 or something like that. So, go cook that line, you guys. Because that to me is his only path to victory.
Yeah.
Once it starts to hit round 2, Mullarkey's the ultra vet. I think
3 minutes in a round 1, it's all Mullarkey.
Yeah.
I think he's got to win first 2-3 minutes of the fight. Prado does.
A professional fighter should be able to get away from one guy just swinging crazy bombs. Honestly, if he wants to make life easy, I'm going to DM him. I'm just going to tell him, take him down.
But here's the thing, though, is Mullarkey will wrestle where Rodrigues won't.
It drives me insane.
It's like
he's so good.
Yeah.
Such a good grappler.
And his chin is so bad, too. His chin is way worse than Mullarkey's.
Yeah.
Right.
I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah. And his fight IQ, he just does some dumb stuff. For how good Rodrigues is.
He got on the guy's back and could have just rode it out there and let him up to get knocked out.
Yes. Whereas Mullarkey's not going to do that. He's going to grind him out.
Yeah, Mullarkey's a solid guy. I really like that play there against a 20-year-old. Why, guys, you guys always do such a good job letting us know. Why did Prado get signed? Because he wasn't Contender Series and he wasn't Ultimate, maybe he was Ultimate Fighter in Latin America or something. But here's the thing about these countries too, guys. There was just a fight recently. It was TJ Brown versus Eric Silva.
Okay.
Eric Silva trains in Costa Rica. And I've been to Costa Rica multiple times. The jiu-jitsu, excellent. Shout out Renzo Gracie, Costa Rica, Arturo, and the crew. Phenomenal jiu-jitsu. The MMA is so underdeveloped in those countries. First of all, they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the money. And it's not desirable countries that people want to go to. A lot of the best people, they move to America or they move to Europe or these big places. That's where the best coaching.
We're starting to see South American fighters moving to Mexico and training at Entram.
Yeah.
Yes, which is, it's kind of American MMA training-ish, but without paying American living prices.
Yeah, and so that's closer. It's kind of like in jiu-jitsu. It's funny. It's like New York and California have the two best jiu-jitsu, and then it kind of gets gradually worse the farther you stray away from that, and then it gets better again once you hit the other coast. I don't know, Milwaukee's jiu-jitsu, like C-Rod, he's horrible at jiu-jitsu, but California is incredible. So just these Latin American countries are just not very good at MMA. They're just underdeveloped, and it's sad. That's how I knew TJ Brown was going to kill him, because Eric Silva trains in Costa Rica, and I've seen the skill level there. And it's
Prado, but I think Prado is up at Entram now.
Oh, okay. Well, then that might change.
I think he is up at Entram.
Just screwed up my whole argument there.
Yeah.
But he's 20 years old. Either way, a 20-year-old, it's tough to be good at MMA at 20 years old.
Yeah, it really is.
And you can tell skill for skill. All right. We spent way more time on that one than need be. All right.
Somebody's a chatty Cathy over here today.
I'm on the Adderall.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Next up, we have Kleydson Rodrigues and Shannon Ross.
Shannon Ross is the one who got signed off of the loss on the Contender, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's horrible.
But it was a great fight. It was a fun fight.
Hey, look, man, a fun fight's a fun fight. Doesn't mean that Shannon Ross is any good. Kleydson is legitimately good. He's huge. He fought CJ Vergara, who is just a pressure hound, and he gassed out, because of it. He's not bad. Kleydson is good. Kleyson's really good. I think I don't, what's the line on this one? Do you know? Because, Kleyson's got to be a favorite. I can't believe if he's not minus 500, I can't believe that he's not.
Let's see. He is minus 320.
Okay, even I wonder what it opened at, because that sounds about right. I don't know that I would put him at minus, but actually I do. I think that he should be like minus 400 or 500, but I think the recency bias of him losing, people worry about. And they worry about probably weight cut with the travel to Australia, which is the worst. I have flown all around the world. I've flown to Abu Dhabi. I've, been to Europe. I've been to Russia. When I flew to Melbourne, Australia, that
Who did you go with?
Was brutal. Bruno Silva fought down there.
Sorry, Bruno. You went to Melbourne, Australia for Bruno's fight?
For Bruno's fight.
Who did he fight?
Taha. He fought Khalid Taha.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it was brutal. The flight down there was...
Did you see Anek's tweet about it?
No.
Anek's like delayed. He's like, this is horrible. And someone on Twitter was like, are you going for vacation or for work? And he goes, you would be out of your fucking mind if I went this far for recreation. This is horrible.
It was horrible. The time difference, I couldn't function. We got called at 7 a.m. to go to the arena. So we had to wake up at like 5 to eat, make sure we got a shakeout and moved and functioned a little bit. It was the worst experience I've ever been through in fighting, hands down. And so maybe Kleydson has a weird weight cut, eating, dieting issue, plane flight stuff, and it's
you
hard.
Hear that, matchmaker? Send him to Australia.
Oh, I actually told people, a bunch of guys were trying to get on this card, and I told Kamuela was, and C-Rod was, and I told both of them, if you guys go, I'm not going to Australia.
Wow.
I told them I'm not going to Australia, just so you know. Mm-hmm. And they were like, very well then. So anyway, I like Kleydson here all day. I think inside the distance, I think he's going to start Ross. I don't think Ross is the guy. I think he got a gift by putting on a good show in a contender, and I think he's going to lose to... Actually, I think he'll lose this one. And then I think he will... They probably won't fight him again unless they go back to Australia sometime soon, or in case they're in Europe, or they'll fly him out in case they do a Argentina show,
and
or they need somebody to lose.
Yeah.
They need somebody to get beat up by a local.
Yeah, I've been trying to hit a lot more openers. Big Steve, I'm learning how to gamble finally. I've been hitting a lot more openers, so when this line got released, I bet Shannon Ross right off the bat, and I got in retrospect not a good line. And you don't win all the lines, but I got my plus 220, and what is he now? Just for reference. Let's see. He is plus 270. So the line's moving pretty far against me. I got to hedge out of this play. For some reason, I thought that Kleydson was big and strong, but super easy to beat with one takedown. And I thought Shannon Ross was way better than he actually is. He's not bad. He's a good regional flyweight. He's tough as hell. He fights hard for your money. But at the end of the day, Kleydson is massive.
And Ross is undersized, and he's chinny.
Against a guy who's legitimately a very good striker.
And he hits hard.
Yeah. The only way that I see this is if Shannon can push a pace. But the problem with his pushing the pace is he doesn't have the same chin and the same vigor and vitriol.
And the same pace. He can't hold the pace.
As CJ Vergara.
Yeah.
CJ is not good, but man, he fights. He does fight like harder than most people.
And man, sometimes tough beats good.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Look at the last round of O'Day Osborne and CJ. CJ mopped him. And O'Day is 10 times better, more dynamic everywhere. So I just think Shannon can't keep that pace, and he doesn't have the chin to do it. Kleydson, they're giving him a gift matchup. They want him to be that star, and I think they were pretty pissed off that he lost that last fight against CJ.
Yeah, he was supposed to win. He was supposed to be the guy.
Since he beat Santo Curtolo. And then I went on a rant yesterday about Santo Curtolo. It's the saddest story I've ever seen because he's actually really talented. Kleydson embarrassed them. This is a TF spot for Kleydson. So, I got to hedge out.
Yeah, I think Ross is one of the few Australians who's going to get beat up.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Next up, probably the next Australian that's going to get beat up. We have...
Who do we got?
Josh Culibao and Melsik Baghdasaryan.
For the record, I don't think Culibao is... I think he's from, Guam? He's not Australian.
No, he's a little Aussie boy. Let me see. Yeah, he's Australian. I mean, his flag on his Tapology page is literally Australian.
All right, you guys, we need some research. Where's he from? What's
he
the
was
situation?
born in Australia, and he's fighting out of Sydney, New South Wales.
Huh. Well, very, very well then. All right. Give us a rundown.
Well, I originally bet Culibao here also, and I thought again in my mind that Culibao was something that he wasn't. Now, I think Culibao is very, very good. He's so game. His takedown defense is awesome. Like he knows how to fight. He really is a good guy who knows how to fight. But he doesn't initiate a ton of offensive grappling, and when he does, it's not excellent. And one thing with Melsik is even when he's been taken down, he's shown really good abilities to get back up, like really good stand-ups, and he's in your face. He throws with hate in his heart. And I think the one edge in this fight would be the cardio. But I don't think Josh Culibao does enough to push the cardio on Melsik to really make him tired to have an advantage in this fight. So I'm getting this K1 kickboxer who is fast, throws so hard, has insane kicks against a guy, Josh Culibao, whose one weakness is kicks. So you're giving me this at a pretty much a pick'em line. Honestly, I really like Melsik. He is going to do to Culibao what we thought that Choi was going to do to Culibao, left hook Choi. So for me, I'm going to hedge out of my position here, and I'm going to go to Melsik. I like Melsik in this matchup.
Interesting. I'm trying to just calculate this because, again, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. And
we talked about it a lot of it yesterday.
Yeah, and I really liked Culibao off of the, just initially. Because Melsik, you said it, Melsik is good. Like, he's good. He does all this stuff well. He's a good kickboxer, marches forward. He's a southpaw. He has fast hands. He has a fast left kick. More importantly, he has hate in his heart. But we saw with Bruno Souza, who he just ran. And I feel like Melsik never really got good, clean, solid punches on Bruno. It was always him just he won the fight. He completely won the fight. Yeah. But because Bruno wouldn't stand there and trade with him, he never had the opportunity to beat him up.
But Culibao will stand there and trade.
A little bit, but Culibao has really good footwork. He has a really, really good, and he actually switches stances all the time, but with purpose. Like he'll throw, when he moves to his left, he switches southpaw, all right, which opens up his straight left and his left kick. When he moves to his right, he actually switches orthodox. So it kind of draws people in. And on the redirect, if you're chasing somebody, all right, and then they switch stance, you see it with Izzy and again, I'm not comparing the two. Izzy is infinitely better than Culibao in striking, but you saw it with when he fought Bohachina, when he would switch stances and really took him out of his angle right there. And what happens is if you stay in the same stance, if I'm moving back and you're coming at me in the same stance, we're in a line. But the second I shift to the opposite stance, well, now that takes an angle, and now you have to adjust to that. And so then when you switch again, you're always, anytime you switch stances, going backwards, going forward, it's risky because you can run into punches on the way. But going backwards, you switch your leg, and then now all of a sudden you angled off. And Culibao does it really well, and he's very calculated with it. And he is a smart fighter, and he has good technical abilities, and he seems like he has a smart brain. So
I think that's the best part of his game is actually his intelligence.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think he's going to use his footwork a lot, and I think we're going to see a lot of the Melsik Bruno fight missing and charging in and going, but I think we're going to see Culibao wrap him up a little bit like we saw England do before he got knocked out in 1 minute and 50 seconds of the
you still owe me $50. Wait, we had a bet on the last podcast. The podcast is not lost. It's just bad audio. We bet some money on what it goes. Yeah. So the knockout, guys, just so you know, the knockout happened 1 minute and 50 seconds into the round, and we were debating if the 150 meant that's how much time was left on the clock or how far into the round. So we did a spit agreement, and I won.
We never shook on it.
We did a blood ceremony.
So anyway, I lost. I owe Brandon $50. Or maybe I'll just have my kids write on his next pair of shoes, which will increase their value by $50.
High fashion.
But anyway, Melsik, I think we saw England wrap Melsik up in this weird, almost like hanging on him clinch. Melsik wasn't able to do anything.
Do you think England was dangling?
I think he was dangling on Melsik, and I think Melsik didn't know what to do about it. And I don't know. I'm sticking with Culibao here.
Melsik has been training with the boy, Edwin Najmi.
Yep.
Okay, he's been training with Armenian Olympic gold medal wrestlers.
None of that matters because this isn't going to be a grappling affair.
Every day, you just made a case for it to be a grappling affair. When I did say this yesterday. So when I was out in California with the boys, we literally went to go train with the Armenians. That was the whole point of the trip, was to train with these cologned up BMW driving Armenians. They were all gone.
Here's a random question. Do you wear cologne?
No.
No, because you're an adult.
Oh.
Yeah, because we don't, Who wears cologne anymore? But I was just traveling with our dear friend Roman Salazar.
He got to wear cologne.
He was cologned up.
He's like GQ.
He was super tight pants, sticky hard hair because so much gel in it.
What color underwear?
And cologne. Probably all the colors. And super cologned up. And I was like, we're still wearing cologne, Roman? Like you're an adult in your 30s. You just shower and you put on clean clothes. And
we're good. Irish Spring. We're good to go.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just curious if you had adulted out of the cologne phase as well, or if you were still in it.
I'm in touch with the black culture now.
Okay.
And the black culture is educating me on colognes. Like apparently, this is a very big subset of society is colognes.
Really?
Like people have cologne battles and like colognes for the gym.
Is that like a dance off, like a dance battle?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay.
Like. There's a cologne for the gym. There's a cologne for the grocery store.
Right.
There's a cologne for around the
cologne
house.
For the gym, is that like Axe spray or something? Like,
I'm going to have to learn about
this.
Like, I just barely found out that there's like luxury tea. Now there's luxury colognes. I have some catching up
it's too
to
much.
do.
All right.
Where the hell were we?
We were talking about going to the Armenians. And
okay. I was in California, and I was fat as hell.
Just get to the point now.
I was fat as hell at the time. And on Friday, I had been training 2-a-days for 3 or 4 days in a row. I was exhausted, and they go, hey, you want to come to Black House and spar Melsik? And I was like, no way.
I need to start name dropping all the people I train with on the podcast.
Well, they asked me to spar this terrifying Armenian who's fighting in this fight. It's relevant. No, I don't want to spar Melsik. All right. I think I'm on Melsik.
I'm going to stick with Culibao. With not a lot of conviction. Like, well, I'm leaning, because, we do that, and I'm leaning Culibao.
Well, if we both bet each side or talk about each side, we'll never be wrong.
Then we're never wrong. Exactly.
Okay, next up we have Tyson, Pedro, and Modestas, Bukauskas.
Okay. Is there an S at the end of that?
Yeah, Bukauskas.
Plural. Bukauskas is just, he's very
timid.
Good.
Yeah.
Wait, but he's good. He's technical. That's a guy you train in the gym, and he could hold pads for you and teach you all of the tricks of striking. He could show you how to cage wrestle and how to wrestle. He could work you over in jiu-jitsu, tell you all the smart things that you need at every aspect of fighting career, your diet, your strength and conditioning, the whole way through, all of it, always. And then we'll just not fight when it comes time to putting it together in a cage. He's so good. And then he was already released. Got a couple wins in Cage Warriors against...
Massive wins.
Like
Lee Chadwick and Chuck Campbell, the legend.
I mean, where there must have been in like 20 rounds of fighting, 4 punches thrown, and a lot of nothing going on. Bukauskas is good. He's solid. He just doesn't do anything. He doesn't fight. He doesn't have a sense of urgency. And he's going against Tyson Pedro, who will throw down, who's technically a very good striker. He's got a beautiful straight left. His clinch work is good. He'll throw elbows off the break. I mean, the big knock on him is the adrenaline dump and hurting people. And actually the knock on him as well is getting taken down and kind of some grappling exchanges. But Bukauskas doesn't really wrestle offensively unless it's kind of too late, too little, too late. He's already hurt type of stuff, or people wrestle him, will wrestle back a little bit. And I got to go with Tyson Pedro here because the sense of urgency. He fights to win, and Bukauskas is there, who was brought back after a couple wins in Cage Warriors after being released to lose to a guy in his home country.
We said this yesterday. We're like, okay, well, Modestas has to get him tired. He's got to grapple and wrestle early and really wear on those muscles. And then we're like, well, even if he wears Tyson out, he won't go to finish him because he does nothing.
Yeah. He'll just sit there and wait for Tyson to, like,
all right, are you going
to
fall over?
Yeah. Oh, you're not? Oh, your energy bar is getting bigger. Let me just watch it. Like, all right, and now I'm beat up again.
Yeah, honestly, I do have a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for Modestas because he was part of my $1 Million Week. He made, honestly, most of those fights were cake. They were one-punch knockouts, first round, all done, submissions. Every single fight was super easy. Honestly, the hardest part of that entire week was Modestas going life or death with Lee Chadwick because he refused to grapple. He was on his back foot the entire time, just trying to counterpunch. My cheeks were clenched the entire time. I had a lot of big plays on him in that fight. He gave him a tee-up fight, 2 tee-up fights with guys that have bad cardio.
39 years old.
Super old.
Yep.
Now he's fighting Tyson Pedro on short notice in Australia. Tyson, honestly, he took a lot of time off. He looks a million times better.
Good.
He's calm. He's collected. He looks like, honestly, the hardest puncher in the UFC to me. Like, the way that he punches with his frame.
Yeah.
The punch and the kicks. Like, I would not want to get kicked by him. I don't want to get kicked by anybody, but especially
So
him.
Tyson inside the distance?
Yeah, I could see it.
Okay.
I mean, the last time that Modestas fought, an Aussie, Big Daddy Crute.
Oh, Crute.
Big Daddy Crute put him away.
Yeah, if Crute can put you away. I mean, Crute's good, but
Crute is
he's
good.
slow.
And Tyson is taller, longer, more
Faster.
handsome. So he's
Good-looking
going to do
guy.
it inside the distance.
Yeah. Good-looking Aussies who can strike.
Yeah,
How
Olberg.
do you lose?
I just want to see him and Olberg kiss. All right. Next up, we got Jimmy Crute and Alonzo Menifield.
Man, so Crute has issues with athletic people. And Jamal Hill we realize how good he is. He was just too damn fast for Crute. And then Anthony Smith was just too damn fast for Crute standing. And who else somebody took him down, Sirkinov. Sirkinov took him down, Kimura him? I think it was Kimura.
I hate to relive that.
But anyway, I mean, Crute is a guy who I think is a lot better than his UFC record shows. I think he's 3-3 in the UFC. Am I crazy there?
4-3. He beat Paul Craig, Sam Alvey, Lord Michael, and then Modestas. He lost to Jamal Hill, Anthony Smith, Misha Sirkinov.
Okay. The Anthony Smith one was weird. Of course, he got
sucks.
his leg hurt. But that said, he was getting pieced up standing before he shot. And he shot, and it was the easiest takedown ever, which just is like, dude, why aren't you shooting? So, on the other side, you have Alonzo Menifield, who's solid. He's fine. He's not amazing anywhere, but he's tough. He's durable. He hits hard. He knocks people out. His wrestling has gotten a little bit better, and I think he's gotten a little bit better over his tenure in the UFC. His opposition is not world beater-ish, and he's slow. And I think that this is the right athletic person for Crute to fight who doesn't have the speed as the other athletic people that he could fight.
It's crazy Uncle Body Jamal is knocking everybody out.
Right?
He's got this gut.
Like kind of a pot belly. Not a pot belly, but like skinny fat. He's like Mr. Burns of like the division. It's just...
And then big, juicy Alonzo Menifield were like, man, I don't know.
That guy, but he's just so slow and lumbering. But I think if Crute goes in there, hands up, wrestles Alonzo Menifield early, can create some wrestling and grappling exchanges, I like Crute to win. And I think even if he ends up on the bottom or on the bad side of some of the grappling exchanges, I think his jiu-jitsu is actually just technically far superior to Alonzo Menifield, so that he'll either find his way up, find his way on top, find his way in the right positions to win the fight. I'm not screaming Crute from the rooftops because I don't like his slowness, and I don't like his that really bothered me, his Anthony Smith loss, because he could take him down. So Anthony Smith has the worst takedown defense in the heavyweight division, in the history of the heavyweight division. Paul Craig defends takedowns better than Anthony Smith. And he chose to get beat up by him standing until he could not walk and was like, oh, I better shoot a takedown, and got it with ease.
And beat the hell out of him.
Yes. So, like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Like, get in there, get your ass in gear, get your hands up, crowd, wrestle. This should be a Crute win. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually goes the distance or like the over on this, but I do like Crute, but I want to see some better decisions before I scream his name.
I don't think it's going to go to decision, only for the fact that if Alonzo wins, I think it's early. It has to be early. And if Crute wins, I think Alonzo's got good enough wrestling to defend 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. It's going to be the 4th or the 5th shot that Crute,
which will be in the 2nd round or even the early 3rd round, where he's just
by that time he's so tired. And Crute honestly can fight through a lot of exhaustion. You watch a lot of his fights. So Jimmy Crute was my original favorite fighter. When we were joking a long time ago about the list, how sad the list is now. Mason Jones, Choi, Crute, MAB. Like, the list is horrible now. Yeah, that fell off. But anyways, The one thing that I always liked with Crute is that he would constantly fight through exhaustion to fight for top position. He's got very
JSP.
good...
He's JSP,
Yeah.
Jonathan Pierce, our guy.
That's actually a perfect
who's
analogy.
super fine being tired because he's like, I know you're tired and I'm going to keep digging through.
Yep. And he's great fighting for top position. He's got very clean, very good jiu-jitsu for especially a guy that size. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. His wrestling, honestly, is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And his hands are, honestly, I don't think are bad. I mean, he knocked Modestas into the 7th row. Like,
In
that
the
was
Shadow Realm.
horrible. And even on Contender Series, he's got good hands. The thing that I like in this matchup, because I see everyone saying that Alonzo is a really, really good underdog. Alonzo, to win this fight, is going to have to work hard. This isn't
Honestly, it's a Prado situation. He's got to win the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's going to win a decision.
Guys, how nervous were we when Alonzo was fighting Ed Herman? Ed Herman is 70 years old. And we were like, okay, but Alonzo, don't use too much in the first round. Like, you got to manage this. Like, you really have to, like, watch this. So now he's got a guy with a pulse under the age of 50 or not a complete fraud. Now he's going to have to, he is going to have to work hard to put Jimmy Crute away. And the harder he works to put Jimmy Crute away,
it's going to work against him.
It's going to work against him. So he's got 2-3 minutes to make this happen. This isn't William Hill, or I'm sorry, what's his name? William Knight.
William Knight.
Who is big and strong and he's there, but he's horrible. And he lost.
I don't think so. You were always so hard on William Knight, and I don't think he's a world beater, but I think William Knight is decent at some stuff. Don't hate on William Knight.
William Knight is just
Don't
crazy.
hate on Will.
Anyways, he lost to William Knight. Shouldn't have lost that fight because technically Alonzo is much cleaner, much better everywhere. He's a better striker, better wrestler, and he lost that fight. Beat Askar Mazarov, Ed Herman, and who was the last one? Let me see. Sorry, guys. Pause. The last fight was Misha Serkinov.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
down a weight
Serkinov.
class, and
Yep.
Serkinov is also old.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Crute is a young guy. He's had time off. And even in the Jamal Hill fight, he didn't get put out, which is important. He didn't get put to sleep, which I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
That's important.
It's very important. He's got a chin. He's still not he doesn't have an amazing chin like it's like Mark Hunt in his heyday, but it's strong. He's not chinny.
He didn't get slept.
Yeah.
He got rocked a few times, and then the ref stopped it and was merciful. But before that, he lost because of the leg thing, and then before that, he got submitted.
Yeah.
So he's not dropping every fight.
So you going Crute?
I have to go Crute times a million. I love
Inside the
Crute.
distance?
I want to be careful with that. I don't want to get carried away and greedy with this one. But again, the harder Alonzo works to try to win this fight, it's only going to work against him, against a guy who he does get tired, but he's willing to drag
And
you
you
to
got to take into consideration the travel, the trip, all of that. That's going to wear on him and his cardio as well.
I'm going to DM Jimmy Crute once we leave here, and I'm going to give him the
didn't you
game.
say that Jimmy Crute won't DM you back?
I told him, I said, Jimmy, you're my favorite fighter. Hey, I just want to, what's up? A little shout out. I bet $10,000 on you. Nothing. Crickets.
Nothing. Really?
So
All right,
I'm
going
going to
Crute.
DM him the game plan after this. I'm going to have King Casey negotiate the deal. I'm going to have her just say, hey, listen, this guy's a big fan, represent Australia, and he's going to get me back.
I like it. All right, who do we have next?
All right. So next up, we have, now I'm on Alonzo's record. We have Justin Tafa and Parker Porter.
Well, yesterday I didn't film it, and I didn't film it today.
Okay.
So that's an easy one. I think, I mentioned this yesterday. Tafa's tough. He's good. He's a better striker. We don't really know how his wrestling is. You mentioned this, that he got shot on one time with Carlos Felipe, which was the lamest shot ever.
Put his
Shouldn't
arms
have even
down.
counted as an attempt. And Porter is tough. He's good. I don't think that, I don't know. Porter's wrestling's not great. He's not amazing, but he's tough and he's durable and he will press and he will try to smash Tafa. And he definitely has a lot more experience than him. I don't know. I somewhat lean Porter with zero tape at all.
Smart.
But that's all I'm going with.
Okay. I tried to tape this a little bit, and I think you could tape this for as many hours as you want to and still not come up with a pretty clear conclusion. And the only reason being is we don't know what Tafa's takedown defense looks like. And I really think that's the most important point here. Standing on the feet, Parker Porter has decent boxing and decent volume.
He rolls punches well. He has this weird kind of rolling movement.
Yeah.
So he doesn't take a lot of damage right off the bat.
He really does. But on the other end, Tafa has really good kicks,
and Porter has legs the size of cars.
Yeah. So I think Tafa's striking legitimately is very intelligent. Like, you were always kind of hard on Tai Tuivasa for a long time, and I said, go back and watch him. You may think he's a brawler, but honestly, he's technical. A lot of the things he's doing, he's checking kicks, he's managing range. Like, Tafa's right there with him. They're kind of on the same page, but we don't know what his takedown defense looks like, and it's not that Parker Porter's honestly, in my mind, I thought Parker Porter's wrestling was so much better than it was, and then watching it over the years, I'm like, it's horrible.
It's not.
No.
But you got to assume that Tafa is going to have good enough takedown defense considering the people he's training with in the camp that he's with.
I mean, I would hope, but it's just hearsay. We don't know.
You don't know.
We have no idea. And so that's why this fight is the big unknown. All I know is that they're flying Parker Porter to Australia to fight Tafa. Junior Tafa was a major signing by them, and they were giving him a tee-up fight. So I don't know that they would be flying these guys to Australia
to win.
Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. Again, maybe rumblings in the camp like, hey, no, Tafa's takedown defense is legit. I have a play on Tafa here. It's not like I feel amazing about it. I'm like, guys, this is the sharpest play. I got to play on Tafa at plus money. I feel good about it.
Okay.
I'll let it ride.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Next up, we're getting there. Oh, this is our main event.
Whew.
Randy Brown, Jack Della, Maddalena.
Tell us about Della Maddalena.
You go, Fed. I've heard myself talk too much.
You're talky. You're chatty. Randy Brown is tall. He's 6'3". 6'3", I think. He's skinnier than any other human who has ever lived. Like, I mean...
Yeah, he's 6'3".
Yeah, he's 6'3". Really good vision with his punches and the way that he draws people in. He uses that low jab to kind of flick. So you think that there's nothing in your way, and then all of a sudden a jab comes up, and you're like, oh, I'm not in the range that I thought I was in. Like, I'm closer. He's hitting me. And he's got a beautiful straight right. His jiu-jitsu is good. His MMA jiu-jitsu is good. His submission game is good. He attacks submissions well. We saw him with Warley Elves. He hit the triangle. In his last fight, I forget who it was. He was attacking a guillotine. Didn't get it, but he forced a lot of scrambles in it. And I think overall he's relatively good. The knock with him is his takedown defense is pretty much non-existent, and he just looks physically weak to me. Now, on the other side, we have Della Maddalena.
Nice. We're getting there.
Della Maddalena. Della Maddalena.
You keep saying Della. You say Della even still. Della.
Della? Della sounds weird.
Why?
I don't know.
Della?
Weird. Yeah, Della. Della Maddalena? Della Maddalena.
What do they call those little Aussie twinks? What are little Aussie twinks called?
What are we talking about here?
What do they call? What do they call them?
Aussie twinks?
No, those there's a name for them. Like
Twinkies?
No, what's the name for the Aussies? But like they're called something. They're like kiwis. Kiwis.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to make a fruit reference, and I'm like, oh, that's actually it.
Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with Della Maddalena.
We need a Kiwi to tell us the pronunciation.
But aren't Kiwis New Zealanders?
I have no idea.
Kiwis are New Zealanders. Aussies are the men from the land down under.
I just think of them all as the prison colony, so I have no clue.
Okay. So anyway, Della, we saw his wrestling defense against Ange Luce. See, I'm saying this name wrong as well, but it's probably better than Della. And then we saw him against Amiv get taken down. His takedown defense isn't amazing, but the way that he does it, he scrambles up and he does well.
You were saying he does the butt drags and the switches.
Yes.
He really is good counter wrestler.
He counter wrestles. He doesn't stop shots. He counter wrestles to scramble. And even if the scramble doesn't end up with him on top, the scramble ends up with him neutral. But then he doesn't have to use the energy to fight to actually defend the takedown. And it's a win-win. He gets what he wants and he doesn't have to fight and use the energy. And it's non-traditional, so it catches people off guard a little bit. His technical boxing is phenomenal. His head movement is great. He's not overly fast, and he doesn't have very long arms. He's actually short reach, has a very high guard, but what he does really well is he draws people in, and he times their punches really well. So he either draws them in and then follows them back, or he throws as they throw, and he really finds his way on the inside, and he lands really good shots. His inside work is great. His body work is great. I really like all things Jack Della. Now, I like all things Randy Brown, too. I really do like Randy Brown. I'm really excited for this fight because I think it's going to be a very, very, very good fight. I think it's going to be a very exciting fight. I think Jack is going to get hit quite a bit early because that's what he does. He's kind of a slow starter, and I think he's going to find his way in. And when he does, though, I think he's going to start to put a beating on Randy Brown. I think he's going to find his body and come upstairs and find his head, and I think his pressure, being in his hometown, he's getting more and more and more comfortable in the UFC. And I think the more we see Della, I think the better he's going to get. And I like Jack inside the distance here on a very tough Randy Brown.
Yeah, I'm with you 10 million %. Look at Randy Brown's last fights. I really like Randy Brown as well. I picked him in all these fights. Francisco Trinaldo, old, done in the UFC. Chaos Williams, split decision. Jared Gooden out of the UFC. Alex Oliveira is fighting literally career losers on local Brazilian.
But he did hit Alex Oliveira with a beautiful one-arm rear naked choke.
Yeah, I was pissed.
That was really nice.
I was actually there for that. That was the same card as Jimmy Crute.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Randy Brown, but I think a lot of times he's gotten away with his physical gifts. He does have a really good jab, and he's got some decent jiu-jitsu, but I feel like the Randy Brown is not refined. And his last 4 fights have been guys that are also not very refined. They're not these clean, technical, beautiful boxers like Jack is. They're not amazing jiu-jitsu studs. Literally, Chaos Williams, I was at that fight as well. I'm watching Randy Brown get tagged up by Chaos Williams, getting rocked all over the place, and I still think he won the fight. But that's Chaos Williams, who swings about as wide as he possibly can. Now you get a guy who's precise, who's got amazing timing, who does have power, who's just got all the intangibles. He just as game as they can be. Honestly, watching him,
and he has good head movement. A lot of these guys don't have head movement. They're not rolling at all. They're just
Chaos
right
walks
in front
forward
of him.
and just swings.
Same with Trinaldo.
Yeah, and Trinaldo's tiny. So Jack's got size. Jack's got muscle. Jack's got boxing, head movement. We had talked about his grappling. We went on to a long thing about this. Guys, his grappling's good. We can tell his grappling's good. We saw
by
this,
his movement, the way that he moves, the way that he is comfortable, it's solid.
Yeah, people who know jiu-jitsu and know what we're looking at know his grappling is good, and everybody else goes, "Oh, he got taken down. He got put in an arm triangle." Come on, he's legit.
Yep.
Honestly, watching him in the Emmett fight, a lot of people probably would have submitted to that. Most people.
Yeah.
That actually reminded me of Volkanovski with Ortega.
With Ortega, yeah.
Where he was like, oh my God, and then he finally got out. That just shows how game he is, how bad he wants to win. I think he's willing to push through the fatigue. Honestly, the Lusa fight was incredible because of the pace they kept. He's as muscled up as he is, putting 3-piece combos together in the 3rd round. It's incredible. I love me some Randy Brown. It's not here. Yep. I think this is JDM all day.
I'm with you.
All right, that takes us to the co-main event of the evening. We have Yair Rodrigues and Josh Emmett.
Okay. We got an oldie.
Okay.
37. He's a goodie. Turns 38 in a few weeks. Emmett's good. He's solid. He's been plagued with a lot of injuries. There's rumors that he's injured now, that he's been dealing with some hip stuff.
How are we still letting this go on if that's come out with all the stuff that's happened?
All the stuff that's happened lately, the Minner stuff, who else? There's another
TJ Dillashaw.
TJ Dillashaw, that's right. So you've got a guy who, is supposed to have this amazing wrestling, who rarely wrestles. He's got great head movement, great power, but you're seeing him get. I thought he lost to Calvin Kattar. Maybe I'm biased because I thought Kattar was going to win, and I called Kattar, and I really like Kattar in his whole crew, but I thought Kattar won. He got rocked by Ige badly, and then and Ige's tough. And actually, Zombie said that Ige was the hardest hitter he's ever faced. He said he just hit so hard. And then he fought Shane Burgos before that, where he had both ACLs blown out in the fight and still fought his way through it. But, he's got a lot of mileage. He's been chinned. He's older, and he doesn't offensively wrestle right off the bat, fighting a guy who's young, who's the Zohan. He's Zohan of current MMA. throwing kicks, moving laterally, and he finds a way to win. He was losing the entire zombie fight up until the fight, and 1 second left. He hits him with that elbow, found a way to win. I thought he was piecing Max Holloway up until Max decided to wrestle him. And, he's annoying. He's a prima donna. He won't fight all of the people. He was supposed to fight Zabit like 4 times. Didn't fight him, wouldn't fight him, retired so he didn't have to fight him. Came back, said he would fight him, and then it fell through some reason like 6 other times. He's fought like 2-3 times in like 20 years. But he found himself in a freaking title fight because of all of this prima donna nonsense.
Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, and so it worked out for him. Even against Ortega, I thought he was winning the stand-up battle. Even after he got taken down, he threw that armbar up, and his shoulder dislocated. That was a solid armbar and some solid jiu-jitsu up until that point. So who knows what would have happened.
Next time Brian's at Fight Ready, we'll just make sure he gets extra massages on the shoulder.
Yep, and we'll just ask him about it. And I got to go with a younger, dynamic guy who doesn't show any signs of chin issues and seems to be getting better and better and better.
I got nothing else to add to that, honestly. I think I'm with Yair too. If Josh wrestled more, because it's sad because the recipe is so clear.
That's it.
We talked about this last time. He's got 2 takedowns in the last 9 UFC fights, and then the fight before that he had 8 in one.
And
fight.
how did Yair lose? By getting taken down by Max and by getting taken down by Frankie Edgar.
And exactly. Yeah, and so the recipe is so clear. But now we think Josh Emmett is going to do it all of a sudden. Yeah. Now after so long in the UFC, now he's going to come with a wrestling heavy game plan. Now's the time to do it. No, you got to do what got you to the dance. He's a big power puncher. He's going to stand in the pocket and swing as hard as he can. That's what got him there. And if he strays from that, who knows if he wins? Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably
who knows how he wins if he wrestles?
Yeah.
Like, who knows how that would go?
I mean, maybe, a lot is talked about his wrestling. They say his wrestling is out of this world. How do we know?
Yeah.
The path is so clear, and I just don't feel like he's going to use it. Old, injuries. Yair is a clean striker. He's creative. He does things that woos the judges and is very exciting. I'm going to go Yair here. Not with a lot of faith. But
decision or inside the distance?
Probably decision.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I could see that. Either I could see either outcome.
Josh is tough.
I could see either one winning a decision or either one winning a KO, TKO type of thing.
Or even a submission.
Yeah, but this could go any which way it could. But I think Yair is the winner on any of those outcomes.
Hey, have you heard Cejudo's breakdowns?
No.
It's funny. People meme him because he's like, well, I think Sean O'Malley could win by decision, knockout, or submission. And he's dead
or
serious.
His opponent could win by submission, knockout, or decision. Yeah. So, but it really could go. This fight could go any which way. Like, you could actually see a path where it ended in numerous different ways. Yeah. I think it ends with Yair winning a decision or a TKO. However,
it could be a submission. It could be Josh Emmett wins.
All right, let's get on this main event so we can get out of here. It's late, but you guys check out the Discord, check out Patreon, do all of the cool stuff, support us, and then comment. We love hearing you guys comment. My favorite part about your guys' comments is when you comment talking trash about our picks, and then we're right. So that just pleases me so much. The other one too is, and this was a super respectful comment, so I don't want to be too mean about this, but somebody was like, "Oh, you chose a horrible matchup for Corrales in his next fight," and there was like, whoever he fought, Akbar Magomedov or what, I don't even know, Magomedov something.
Real Dagestan, like real good.
He was like, he's so good, and then it was like, he has great cardio. Bad matchup for Corral. Like, it just kept going and going. And then afterwards I said, hey, I didn't want to say anything beforehand, but, we knew what we were getting into and we were prepared for it. And he was super respectful on the response too. But
you said something yesterday, and I just want you to, can we get a close-up of Santino as he says this, please? You said something about the Dagestan. You said, bring
him. Bring him on. Like, we, for a long time, I think.
Stare into the camera and talk right to Chechnya, Dagestan.
Not Chechnya. They'll shoot me. Dagestanis will jump me and beat me up, but the Chechens will kill me.
But they won't take you down. They'll hold you down.
So, actually, who's the 170, the Wolf?
Hamzat.
Hamzat is Chechnyan. So he's not Dagestani. He's Chechen. Anyway, for a long time, everybody was worried about fighting Dags, and we were worried about fighting Dags because they're wrestling. That they have that grappling,
Now we think they're
hang on
pussy.
you heavy style.
Just kidding, guys.
I'm good. Let's fight them. Like we're good. I'm good fighting the Russians. I feel like, man, let's go American wrestling.
Honestly, somebody on the Discord asked, and with all the stuff that's gone on, obviously we don't want to talk about people that we know too much, right? Because you just don't want to blur the lines anymore. And somebody just said, hey, what do you guys think of the matchup with Corrales and this guy? And I just responded and I said, first of all, Corrales is game to fight, and he's got amazing takedown defense. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And it got a lot better for this camp. Like, we specifically worked a lot of very specific things for this fight, which was staying off of the cage, moving laterally, moving and getting under people to defend the takedown instead of staying over them. And it worked beautifully. So
amazing performance. Henry Krause is a cool guy. I've never met him, but I'm excited to meet him someday.
Nice. One of these days you will.
Yeah. All right. All right, main event time.
Main
Alex
event.
Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev. So
give us the goods.
I don't have a lot on this one, and this one is with my heart. I am the biggest Volkanovski fan. I think he's the best fighter on the planet Earth. His striking, everything he does is a trap. It's a setup. It's a rhythm. It's him reading. But he's not just standing there reading like a lot of guys do. Like Floyd, Mayweather, he'll kind of just stand there and see what you're throwing and he'll read you. Volk is actively throwing every time he's reading, and he's making you react.
He's creating the counters. He's touching to draw you in, and that creates it versus waiting for the counter.
A lot is talked about with who's the best strikers in MMA, and casuals always are like, Izzy's the best, or Pereira's the best. I don't think Pereira's the best. Pereira's he's got a ton of insane otherworldly power, and he does a lot of things really, really well too. But if you're talking skill-wise, skill for skill, I think Volkanovski is the best. Him and Fiziev, to me, are the 1 and 2 best strikers in MMA with everything he does. So I say all that to say weight classes matter. Weight classes are there for a reason. Islam is massive, and it's not like Islam is bad either. Islam is a good striker. Yeah. I mean, the Islam-Charles fight, I couldn't believe that people even thought that was going to be as close as it would.
Not at all. Like that. I mean, look, we didn't look smart because a lot of people are like, dude, like a lot of people were on Charles, and it was like
I hate 50, to break 50. It to you.
Like, it's like, man, he is going to get murdered here. There's
got
no
the
path
worst
to
style.
victory.
Exactly.
Worst stylistic matchup.
Because Islam has good... Yeah. You can't say sambo, jiu-jitsu, whatever you want to call it, grappling.
He has good grappling.
Amazing. Weight classes exist for a reason, but I think if there's anybody on earth that can do it, I hope, I pray, I believe that it could be Alex Volkanovski. To me, it's just crazy. I know he's moving up a weight class, and I know Islam is as good as he is, but you have the best fighter on the planet Earth as a 3-1 underdog. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. This is billed like kind of a striker versus grappler, I think, contest. I think. Yeah,
I guess.
But they're both pretty good, everywhere. And Makhachev, his striking is good. It's simple, but he pushes and pulls well. He's a southpaw. He's got a great straight left. Good left kick as well. And he finds his way in. I think he clipped Davey Ramos with a knee or an uppercut that dropped him. He fights well, and his striking has just gotten better and better and better. I think it was actually a hook that dropped Oliveira, right? And then he jumped on him. He didn't take him down. I think he actually dropped him.
It was a very impressive performance, but also Charles Oliveira gets rocked in every single
100%,
exchange
exactly.
ever.
So, but Makhachev, he moves forward and pressures, but he doesn't use volume to do it. He will jab a little bit, and he jabs, and he'll feint, and then he pulls away in hopes that his opponent throws on him, and then he'll counter his opponent. But if his opponents don't counter, he kind of waits there and waits there and waits there a little bit too long, and he doesn't really initiate the striking affair. He needs to throw more volume, and he needs to be touching as he's moving forward. for all of you people out there, if you move forward, you've got to be throwing punches. You've got to create something, or else the person moving backwards is going to just pull and counter you. You've got to be throwing. Then if you're stationary or if you're moving backwards, that is a countering. Okay, now you can draw and now you can pull yourself away. You draw people in and then you counter. If you're moving forward, you've got to be throwing as you're moving forward. Otherwise, you're going to run into punches. Makhachev doesn't run into punches, but sometimes he doesn't get people firing the way that he wants to give the setup that he wants. And we saw him look pretty mortal against, of course, Tsarukyan. Tsarukyan had a lot of good moments. That was a really close fight, but Tsarukyan is Tsarukyan.
Imagine Tsarukyan versus Volkanovski.
Oh, I would love that. Now, on the other side of that, though, we saw him look mortal against Thiago Moises, who is very good, but is not an amazing wrestler and got the takedown. He's not like an amazing striker, but he's serviceable. He's good. He is good everywhere. But he's not amazing. We saw him make Makhachev look human a few times, which is interesting to see. And then on the other side of that, we have Volk, who I don't think the weight is going to be that big of an issue because Volk was coming down from 220, 230, whatever he was when he was a rugby player.
The weight, but the size is different.
The size is absolutely different, but Islam isn't shooting low and trying to get underneath people. He's grabbing body locks, which is going to make life hard for him against Volk, who is so much shorter than him. He's not going to be grabbing the waist. He's going to be grabbing shoulders. And Volk moves so much, not only laterally, so it's going to be hard to find the read on the way in, but once he hits the cage, he moves so much as well. I think Makhachev is going to have a really hard time getting a hold of Volk and keeping Volk down or even pinned anywhere. But what Volk does best is his lateral movement to draw in his inside and outside low kicks. And he steps to the right. He actually kind of cross steps. He steps to the right, and then he kind of stutter steps his left foot to the left and comes back to the right and throws a low kick. He gets you kind of changing direction, and then he hits you with the right low kick. And then he actually kind of does a kind of an opposite pattern when he goes to the left to get the inside low kick. And then so he does that at first, and then he fakes the right hand, and then he fakes the right hand and goes into an inside leg kick. Then he starts faking the right hand, going inside leg kick, and then following with a right hand. Then instead of faking the right hand, he throws the right hand. And so he does that all coupled with this inching left lateral movement where he goes inside outside on his kicks. And it really is a hard thing to pin down where he is, where he's going, and then what he's going to throw. I really like Volk here. On the opposite stance, I think he's really going to kick that lead leg out a lot, which is going to create a lot of off-balance issues with Makhachev. And I think Makhachev is really going to be chasing him down and losing that footwork battle. And I think I really like Volk to win a decision here.
Well, we talk about this too with the wrestling. Makhachev, they say, is like amazing. Like he's taking down world champions, like Olympic champions. But when you're wrestling, and it's the agreement that we are wrestling here, your collar ties, you're very, very close. And then when you're in MMA and you get somebody on the cage, they're close to you. When you have that lateral movement, that's really hard to track down, especially with the Dagestani style. We kind of talked about this. Khabib didn't look like this amazing, beautiful wrestler. It was the second, third, fourth, and fifth shot that were really effective, and the throws. But he would shoot from halfway across the ring. Now, I think Makhachev probably looks a little cleaner than Khabib
I think Makhachev's traditional wrestling is better than Khabib's.
I would agree with that. But either way, when you shoot like that, it's still really hard to catch somebody who's lateral movement and hard to track down like that. Now, we could look like complete idiots and Islam takes him down and subs him.
Absolutely.
In one. But this is not a analysis for me personally. This is Volkanovski is my favorite fighter. I think he's the best fighter on the planet. If anybody can do it, I really hope and I really believe that it is him. So you're going Volk. I'm going to go Volk.
And this is a good weekend because we've got this UFC on Saturday and then Super Bowl on Sunday.
Oh, here in Phoenix. Guys, if you need to rent a car, I am listing my G-Wagon for rental. If you guys need some jewelry, hit me up. I will rent it or sell it to you.
Okay, I like that. I like this point. Now, who's winning the Super Bowl? Eagles, Chiefs.
Where do they play?
What do you mean, where do they play?
Where's the Chiefs from? Chicago?
Kansas City.
I don't know. I go Patty Mahomes, I guess. I don't care.
Man, I hope the Eagles win
Why?
because they haven't won, and I don't even know if they've ever won.
So everybody should just get a fair shot, participation medal?
Yeah.
That's
They have
so
been
lame.
good this year. They have been dominant this year. Man, it's I don't know. I want the Eagles to win. I'm going Eagles, but Mahomes has looked good lately. I'm going Eagles. Eagles, baby. Haven't you seen what's that Mark Wahlberg movie?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, like you got to love him.
I don't love him. All right. Let's end this podcast before we get into more boring shit.
All right, we're out.